sempre un amabile lecciadro viso, il pianto in riso e menzognero, la non moppi, ma più malvento, ogni certo e pensiero.
Biomutant now. You ask, we deliver. It's time. You see, over the last year, rumor has it that Richard Ledbetter has spent most of his gaming hours playing one game, Biomutant. It might just be his favorite game ever. We have no confirmation on this. Nobody can say for sure. This is just my best guess. But at last, we're covering the game on Digital Foundry. It blew up the internet last year, and now it's time for Biomutant. But I can't do this alone. I've brought one of our team members to join us. Audie Surly.
I am bio ready, John. I have been playing this game the entire year leading up to this, right up until we started recording this.
Unfortunately, I have not been playing Biomutant until this video, so I'm going in fresh, and I have experienced its glory.
I kept telling you every day.
I know.
And you just didn't listen to me.
I did not, but now that I've looked into it, I understand the appeal. Alright, so this one was developed by a studio called Experiment 101, which is formed of prior members of Avalanche that had previously worked on the Just Cause games. Unlike Just Cause, however, this game runs on Unreal Engine 4. But there's a twist. It's not a next-generation game, and this is a point of confusion, I think, for a lot of people. This is a PS4 and Xbox One game that also has some Gen 9-aware features, so to speak. So because this is effectively a last-generation game, we're only going to look at the game running on next-generation consoles, obviously.
Obviously.
So, when it first launched, the controversy here was that on PS5, it was only going to run at 1080p, while the Series X would get a full 4K.
That's not enough P for me.
No, that's only 1080p's. It's not nearly enough. So we have to find out, is that really how it still is today?
This is interesting, actually. So, what is the skinny here?
It is, in fact, still 1080p on PS5, so nothing. Yeah, it's.
Oh, is it?
You know, obviously it can't handle Biomutant, as we can see now, so it's only 1080p.
So you can barely see it on a normal television.
Yeah, exactly. You can barely make out what's going on here because it's only 1080p.
Yeah, it's quite blurry.
Yeah, on Xbox Series X, however, you get this nice 4K HUD. But if you actually count the resolution on frame cuts, it actually seems variable, usually coming in around 1296p, but I've seen higher than that as well. Although there is a 30 FPS mode we'll talk about, which gets more around 1800p on cuts. I guess the weird thing here is that it's not exactly what they had originally said when talking about the game, which makes me wonder if things have changed since launch, or they've made adjustments, because it has been, a year. But honestly, it's pretty insane. I mean, just look how good this looks.
Yeah, I cut myself on the sharpness here.
Exactly, it's so sharp. But how can we say for sure? Well, I think the only way to know for sure is if we look closely at it. So let's zoom in a little bit here. And you can see it's definitely blurrier on the PS5 side.
So how many percent are we at right now?
This is just a 200% zoom, so I think we should go in a little bit further and
a little bit more.
Yeah. How about 5,000%?
Yeah, I can see it now. Yeah, much clearer right now.
Yeah, it's clearly like way better on Xbox in this case.
Though if you go in, let's say 6,000% there, John, you do see that there is some artifacting on these textures.
Yeah, I agree. But don't take our word for it. Let's ask our zoom in specialist, the man who can't stop zooming. He zooms in every video, and that's all he likes to do. Alex Battaglia.
Well, it's rather simple, John.
Okay, thank you, Alex. That's enough. So yeah, image quality, it is what it is. Xbox wins this one for sure. The sheer power of Unreal Engine cannot be denied. But it's 1080p versus 1296p. But that TAAU saves the day.
So Xbox the clear winner.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people on Twitter is going to be happy with this.
Exactly. So that's why we're here. I was a little disappointed though with the texture filtering. I mean, look at this. It's really not good on either of the platforms, right? But I guess in some ways it is a little bit retro. I mean, it kind of brings me back to those old Xbox 360 days. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
But Still, if you actually stop and zoom in on things like the grass or the character models, you can actually find some really nice... Wait a minute. Someone get Vitalia on the phone. We got you back.
Oh, I love being here, John. Thank you so much for having me.
So, I need you to look at this with me because my mind is spinning. Right? Look in his eye. Look at the reflection probe they use. Is it just me, or is the source texture here? Is this the Unreal Engine 4 subway demo level?
You know, John, I think you have it right there. And in fact, that was a wonderful year for the Unreal Engine, a classic texture that we see popping up again and again in Unreal Engine titles, and I love seeing it here. But John, you did not think perhaps that it is not a texture, but you're looking at a very distant and incredible ray traced reflection right there.
Oh, that's a good point. It could be completely ray traced. I mean, we're zoomed in here. He could be standing in the subway right now.
Yeah, we don't really know these things. It could be a quantum singularity. There's so many things that we don't know about this game. And in fact, I'm very happy that you contacted me about this, and I love seeing this classic texture.
Well, thank you for joining me to discuss this very important issue, Alex, because I'm going to get back to audio over here because there's a lot more to talk about. Because obviously this is true on these machines, but there's another one we haven't talked about yet. It's the Series S, that little white box. It's so cute. We've got to talk about it. So let's do it.
Very white, very beautiful.
Exactly. So that one does unfortunately fall below 1080p. It's more like 720-ish with TAA.
Oh, is the game actually running right now? I can't really see.
I know, it's tough to see, but the TAU helps a lot. But keep in mind, this is only in the 60 FPS mode. There's also a 30 mode, which increases image quality a bit. And that's the thing, you can actually choose between 30 or 60. But you can also choose between different console versions, since most people probably have all three systems.
Yeah.
Thus, when it comes to the overall visual experience here, to the true splendor of Biomutant, obviously Xbox Series X takes the crown.
Right.
It has more peas and way more grass, as you can see. Then you got the PS5 version, which is, it's 1080p.
Oh.
It's fine. But the extra P's that you get on the Xbox definitely make a difference. Then, of course, there's the Series S bringing up the rear. Now, before we actually get to the performance metrics, because there is a lot of very important data to discuss in that section, I wanted to bring in another expert to give his opinion on the quality of this game. So, since the game was made in Sweden, we need to stop and consult our Swedish game expert.
You were talking about Sven Retro 2000, who joined us on the recent Gran Turismo video.
That's right. So, I think we have him here on the line. So, Sven, tell us about it.
Så detta här spelet är en av de största svenska prestationerna sedan Kalles Kaviar skapades och kunde bara göras här i Sverige. Så jag ger det här spelet 5 Gunda Svan. Det är sant. 5 Gunda Svan.
Thank you, Sven.
Yeah, it seems like he liked it.
Yeah, I think he did. I mean, I don't blame him. But of course, for Sven as well, it comes down to choosing the platform, right?
It's always about the platforms, John.
Exactly. So, we've established already, I think, that the Xbox version just looks way better.
Way, way better.
But how does it run? So let's start then with the 30 FPS mode that's available on all these versions. Just take a wild guess. What do you think you get when you choose 30 FPS?
Oh, in terms of raw numbers?
Yeah.
I'm gonna guess that you get all the frames, every single one of them.
You get 30 frames per second.
And this gives you the ultimate cinematic mode, right?
Yes, if you're into cinematic gameplay, if you really like motion blur and you like things to look really cinematic, this is the mode you want, right?
This is the mode I picked because, it makes it look kind of like The Matrix and films like that.
Yeah, exactly. But there is actually one caveat to mention. You might not like it on Xbox in this mode because it has incorrect frame pacing. Yes, I know. Friends don't let friends play games with incorrect frame pacing. That's all I have to say. But thankfully, you can actually choose to play at 60 frames per second instead, which I encourage everyone to do, except maybe you. But so, all right, let's look at it. So first of all, let's look at the PS5. It's very blurry, I know, but the thing about this one is it does actually deliver 60 frames per second a good amount of the time, as you can see.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it's pretty stable overall, I would say. And that's, all that's happening here is it's just the system is basically brute forcing through a PS4 Pro version of the game.
This is raw power we're looking at.
Yeah, exactly. It's just powering through that version because it's not enhanced, hence the low res, and that's what you get. But you do still get these pretty bad stutters occasionally, which not the best thing in the world, I gotta say.
I mean, you call them stutters, but I would say that this is a dynamic frame rate.
Actually, if you want dynamic frame rate, then I have the version for you.
Oh, tell me.
So if you play it on the Xbox Series X with a much superior image quality, you actually get a much more dynamic frame rate, as you can see here. So you get more options for your money. So you get 60 FPS in spots, but it can also deliver in the mid 40s, just kind of at random, and sometimes even as low as just below 40 even in some cases. So you actually get more value in terms of overall frame rate than you do on the other platform.
I mean, cast a wider net, catch more fish, right?
Exactly. So, if you want that stability, you go with the 30 FPS mode. If you don't mind this, if you want those extra frames that are more variable, then choose the 60 mode. If you have VRR though, you won't actually see any difference. It looks fine either way. So
we should turn that off.
Yeah, if you want that raw experience, you should probably turn that off.
Yeah.
And it's exactly the same on the Series S, where it just, it spends plenty of time trying to get up to 60, but doesn't quite get there.
But that I think that's kind of part of the charm of these video games, is that we can see the effort in motion, in action.
Yeah, so that's how it's actually making full use of the hardware, right? Like if it wasn't dipping at all, then you could argue that they didn't do enough to take advantage of the hardware.
And then that would just mean that the devs are lazy.
Correct. So that's not the case here, thankfully. So yeah, that's the numbers on this. If you want the image quality, you know which version to go with. If you want more frames, but more boring frames, then I guess you play it on the PS version.
Now, may I inject, my friend, that this might surprise you. It might surprise the audience a little bit. So, I'm actually quite a big fan of animals with attitude. I think this is kind of like a bygone element of video gaming that we haven't really seen in the last few years. And I think you're talking about these mutants. It's a harsh word, mutant. They are still animals. They still can be loved. And I really do enjoy the fact that they have attitude, they have personality, and it brings out, the human in them. Despite being animals, the attitude kind of makes them relatable. So I think this is one of the elements of Biomutant that we really, should stress.
Yeah, you're right, actually, because while you were playing Biomutant, I was actually playing Awesome Possum on the Mega Drive, and it reminded me that I should probably check this game out, because...
Yeah, I think they have a bit of a symbiotic relationship. So, it's kind of like a toss-up. Play one or the other before, and you kind of get into the right mindset.
Exactly. So that is Biomutant. We finally examined the game. We know everything about it now. I understand better why you and Rich have been playing this game nonstop.
Yeah, I mean, this has been a year in the making. I've been tinkering around with this game since then. I'm very happy to see that you finally kind of joined us in the fold, because we haven't really been playing that much else, a little bit of Grand Theft Auto 5 here and there, but for the most part, it's been Biomutant all the time.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, if you have a game console made within the last, 9 years, you should probably get Biomutant.
Absolutely, and I would think that this is a game that will last you for another 9 years. So, you're in for a good time.
Yeah, especially if you like tutorial prompts. Because, the problem with modern games is that you pick them up and they're just too difficult sometimes, right?
They just don't tell you anything.
Exactly, but this one, it does not leave you hanging. You will know exactly what you have to do, how to craft that item, how to use that button, how to climb that rope, how to kill that boss. It's all there for you. They take good care of you in this game, and hopefully we've taken good care of you with this information today.
Absolutely. I would hope that everyone watching this will mutate themselves and check this out.
But that's going to do it for now, so I hope you have a good April.